Good afternoon, Warren Township Schools. This is Dr. Mingle coming to you here on Friday, March the 27th, 2020, with an update on our COVID-19 school closure, some important information about where we are, where we're headed to, and important information for everybody. First of all, I think it's important to start by saying thank you. Our students have been amazing, our parents have been amazing, and our staff has gone above and beyond to make the first 2 weeks of something that we could never have predicted or planned for as smooth as possible. Obviously, we work through some challenges as time goes on, but I'm very proud of everybody for the work that's being done. So let's talk a little bit about where we are. Back on March 12th, I announced that the Warren Township schools would be closed through at least spring break. The following Monday, March 16th, we began flexible instruction days. And last night, Governor Murphy and Commissioner of Education Repollet announced that all schools would remain closed indefinitely and that the decision rests with the state about when we can reopen. Furthermore, they announced that state officials will reassess the decision about reopening no earlier than April 17th, which means that our closure will extend by at least one more week after spring break. Given the amount of time it will take us to be ready to reopen after the word comes, I would predict that that extension will go on beyond April 17th, probably by at least another week, but it's impossible to say right now exactly when this will end. With that in mind, today I'm going to share with you some of our thoughts about how we'll continue to move forward. As far as our existing approach, we started week one by launching our flexible instruction days and triaging the highest needs. This included things like ensuring that all families had access to food, technology, and internet bandwidth. That triage continued into week two, this week of March 23rd, as we began to transition to a normal course of business. I would say that didn't really occur until about Wednesday due to ongoing needs for families with internet and computer devices. So this has been certainly a struggle that maybe not everybody understands from their own personal viewpoint, but when we look at the whole district, we see challenges that we are working through. Next week, the week of March 30th, our third week, the third and the final scheduled week that we knew about before we left the district, we will be providing training to our staff so that we can ramp up to what we're calling flexible instruction days 2.0 or 3.0, and we'll share more about that in this presentation. Then the week of April 6th, we will have our regularly scheduled spring break. And it's important for everybody to know that spring break will be a complete shutdown of all district operations. That is, we do not expect any of our staff members to be available to answer emails or phone calls or to be working. This is a time to separate from distance learning and focus on other things. I know that that can be a challenge depending on the household and the conditions, but it's really important that we take this time to rest, reflect, and then plan for how we're going to move forward. One of the things we've been doing throughout our time away from each other is really making sure that we're hearing from our stakeholders. In last Friday's survey of parents on behalf of their children, you told us that the highest areas of challenge or concern at the elementary level had to do with parental support at home, whether that be because there are other children in the household or job responsibilities or just not feeling comfortable with the role, lack of structure making it difficult for students to focus, or just a difficulty in focusing in general because of the nature of distance learning, and a desire for synchronous video or some kind of engagement with teachers and peers. At the middle school level, we saw similar feedback about a lack of interaction among peers and between students and their teachers, and also some challenges with the structure of the day and difficulty focusing. It's important to note that for every person who commented about a concern like there is not enough work for students to do to keep them busy all day, we had an equal number of comments about there being too much work and students struggling to maintain. It's also important to note that we do have families in the community being affected by COVID-19. We have made several agreements to waive responsibilities for certain students, at least temporarily, while they deal with medical concerns in or near their household. It's important that we are all understanding of the large scale of the impact on everybody within Warren Township, but our staff members who are all throughout the region as well. We also survey our staff on a daily basis about how things are going. One of the questions we asked them yesterday was how comfortable they are with adding either asynchronous video or synchronous instruction. It's important to note that our staff members have never been trained to use video in the way that we are now thinking about using in the district. And so it's natural for there to be a range of comfort levels. As you can see in the charts here, we have some staff members who are feeling very confident that they are at a place already where they can teach others about this, and others that are very concerned about what it might look like, whether that be because of technology concerns or because of their own at-home work responsibilities tied to their children. So, like our parents in the community, many of our staff members are juggling both home and work responsibilities. Similarly, our staff members also have friends and loved ones who might be affected medically with COVID-19, which puts additional strain on their family and their resources. With this in mind, we are thinking about how we progress with a set of basically 3 buckets of considerations. At the top are social emotional considerations, the things I've already kind of been talking about. We have to be careful that before we take a step forward, we think about the impacts not only on our students and their families, but also on our staff members. And understanding that additional stress created by higher expectations could have negative consequences. We also know that social isolation, as opposed to physical distancing, is creating challenges for some as well. So our resources have been going towards things like making sure that we make direct contact with students and families who may be struggling, and same thing for our staff. So before we do anything else moving forward with additional technology, video conferencing, hangouts, we want to make sure that we're thinking about the social and emotional risks as well as the benefits. There are also logistical challenges. Not everybody in Warren has access to the level of high-speed internet bandwidth that it takes for one or more devices to be streaming video at the same time. While we have been able to provide internet access to families that needed it at a minimum level, the higher level that it takes for video is not necessarily in place everywhere. There are solutions to those that we will work through, but it's not quite as simple as just turning on a video camera and starting instruction. Similarly, the same goes for our staff members. And finally, legal concerns. I've received several emails from well-meaning parents and community members saying some other district is already doing things that we should be doing with Zoom, for example. There are significant legal implications to opening up video between students, among students, and between students and adults. There are Board of Education policy considerations, there's legal guidance, there are federal and state laws about the use of video and data protection. For example, Zoom's data privacy policy does not currently meet the standard of federal law for how schools protect data privacy. I can't speak to other districts and how they're using different technology tools, but I will say that we will not move forward in Warren Township without taking into careful consideration the legal as well as logistical and social emotional considerations of these changes. In addition, we will stick to our roots as a whole child school district. That is, we need to think about the basic needs first of healthy, then safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. We all want to get our educational experience while we're away from school up to the high levels we expect on a daily basis when kids are in school. But we can't do that until we take care of the physiological safety, love, and belonging sort of needs that come first in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As a reminder, the whole child approach recognizes that students cannot learn unless they are healthy and safe, and they will not learn unless they are engaged, supported, and challenged. We are still in a place right now where we are taking care of healthy and safe needs for students in a way that we're not typically used to. There are other students who are ready for the engaged, supported, and challenged, and I believe that we've done a great job in the first 2 weeks of getting that done through asynchronous methods, and the information we'll share today will bring us even further along that continuum. As a reminder of the whole child tenets, learning about and practicing a healthy lifestyle, learning in an environment that is physically and emotionally safe for students and adults, which now takes on a different level of concern. Actively engaged in learning and connected to the school and broader community is kind of the next step of what we're trying to do with our distance learning plan. Access to personalized learning and support from qualified caring adults you will see as well, and then the challenge academically. So where are we and where are we going? Under the direction of Curriculum Director Bill Kimmick, Curriculum Supervisor Stacy Medunio, our instructional specialists, and many teachers and other staff members, we have a draft distance learning continuum now in place that will be worked on over the next week. We are really right now only at level 1.0, where our staff are issuing assignments in text format and providing feedback primarily through text and comments. That is very time consuming for our staff. They're working exceptionally long hours, well beyond the typical school day, to make sure that that is happening on a daily basis for our students. Next week, and I'll explain the process we'll use to get there, we will be moving along this continuum to levels 2 and 3, where we will begin preparing our staff to provide short videos to greet students or frame their day or their lesson, as well as the training they need to be able to provide mini lessons through video with clear instructional objectives and directions for student response or activity, which we believe will help respond to concerns about the clarity of instructions that some students and parents talked about. We will also be looking to move towards distance learning level 4, which would include synchronous video chat options between students and their instructors in small groups, most likely, so that they can work on a challenging issue or even just have some social time as a community. We are not yet committing to moving towards a level 5, which would be synchronous mini lessons in real-time format. There are significant difficulties with getting there with those challenges I described earlier. And so we're looking right now at levels 1, 2, and 3, moving towards level 4 for after spring break. So how are we going to get there? Thanks to the work of our curriculum office plus our school librarians, beginning on Wednesday, April 1st, every Wednesday will be a district-wide virtual field trip day. Our librarians have done amazing work in just a couple of days, coming up with concepts for up to 10 weeks of virtual field trip days. And by them taking responsibility for developing the experiences and monitoring the student work, our other instructional staff will be free on Wednesdays for embedded professional learning. I should note that this coming Wednesday's virtual field trips, which are set up for early elementary, upper elementary, and middle with separate learning experiences, will all be tied to space and astronomy. It's going to be a really awesome experience on Wednesday and each Wednesday moving forward. During that same time, our staff will be working through embedded professional learning, where they will gain the tools and the skills and the knowledge they need to be able to ramp up distance learning in ways that we hadn't imagined before. So that Wednesdays will become dedicated staff learning. They will not be giving additional feedback to students on Wednesdays or replying to parent or student emails. Wednesdays will be about professional learning while students are engaged in virtual field trips. And we will continue throughout the school closure to engage in daily staff surveys so that we understand how our staff members are doing, and weekly parent-student surveys so we know where our priorities need to be, what are we doing well, where do we need to continue improving. So to conclude, I know that this pathway, which for some may seem slow, to us is the methodical, responsible approach to providing our students with a whole child educational experience while they are at home. I hope that you found this update informative. More information will continue to come in our daily updates to the community around 4 p.m. each day. If you miss one, you can get all of them on the school district website at www.warrantboe.org. Once again, I'd like to thank our students and our families for all of their hard work and understanding as we've worked through the first 2 weeks. And I would especially like to thank all of our staff members who have gone above and beyond to live the Shining Brighter Everyday motto and make us all proud to be part of the Warren Township Schools. Thank you.